Today's show is sponsored by the Electric Vehicle Association. Join up to support the electrification of transport today. And by Energy Sage. Time's running out in the US to get the benefit of federal tax incentives, so plan your energy independence today. And by you. Stick around to find out how you can help us remain 100% independent by joining us on a Patreon this coming autumn. Welcome back to another episode of TEN, Transport Evolved News. Thanks for joining me. For more than 40 years, protectionist barriers have made it difficult for European cars to be sold in the US and vice versa. These obstacles mainly come down to differing crash test and emission standards, which make it costly for automakers to sell a car designed for one market in the other, unless, of course, it was engineered for both from the start. This week, we learned that a potential trade deal being discussed between the US government and the European Union could allow vehicles designed for one market to be imported and registered in the other without additional testing. The agreement is still vague, and it's unclear how EU member nations would approve it, given significant differences in US crash and emissions regulations. But stay tuned, because I'm working on a video next week that will try and break it all down. New sales data for EVs is in for Europe, showing a growing market share and changing brand loyalty among EV buyers. According to the ACEA, that's the European Automobile Manufacturers Association, just over 1 million new electric vehicles are registered across Europe in the first 7 months of the year, representing a 15.6% market share. That's up from a 12.1% market share in the same period last year. The other key point from the July figures is the dramatic shift in attitudes towards Tesla across Europe. While EV sales overall outpaced ICE sales and many brands saw double-digit EV growth, Tesla sales are down 37% year-to-date, while BYD is overtaking it with a 225% growth year-over-year. Which brings us to the next story. The ACEA is now lobbying European lawmakers to loosen emission targets across the region. Its current president, Ola Källenius, joined Schaeffler Powertrain and Chassis CEO Matthias Zink in a letter urging the EU to ease or even drop emissions targets and ICE bans, calling the 2030 and 2035 CO2 goals, quote, no longer feasible. The pair warned the European auto industry could face economic ruin if forced to comply. While the ACEA represents Europe's auto sector as a whole, though, not all companies back this push. Kia's top European executive recently said the company does not support rolling back zero-emission requirements, warning that such a U-turn would be costly. Kia has heavily invested in European production of its EV4 and is urging the EU to keep its 2035 ICE ban in place. From the US president to tinfoil hat-wearing trolls, we often find ourselves fighting off the assertion that EVs are responsible for more emissions than fossil-fueled vehicles. Luckily, that claim is super easy and barely an inconvenience to debunk, with plenty of scientific research to back that debunking up. Now we've got a new study from the University of Michigan to help. Even when accounting for manufacturing and electricity generation, it shows a battery electric vehicle with a 300-mile range produces 71 to 73% fewer lifetime emissions than a comparable internal combustion engine vehicle. Compact electric vehicles have the smallest lifetime emissions overall, but the largest absolute reductions occur when large vehicles, such as pickup trucks and sport utility vehicles, are converted to electric power. The study also includes a calculator that allows users to estimate their lifetime emissions of a vehicle on a county-by-county basis within the US. Unfortunately, that calculator does not include data for other countries or regions. For a long time now, Chinese automakers face allegations that their government unfairly subsidized domestic production to let them undercut overseas competitors. Now the Chinese government has published data showing where its subsidies went and which companies benefited the most. Between 2016 and 2022, the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology disbursed 1.65 billion yuan to the EV industry. Beijing Electric Vehicle Co. received the largest share with 556 million yuan, while BYD got just 15.74 million yuan and Tesla about 3.59 million yuan. The subsidy program initially focused on state-owned companies but shifted around 5 years ago. But BYD subsidiaries, different from BYD, received a combined 73.47 million yuan, while Tesla subsidiaries, again separate from Tesla, received 31.5 million yuan. Leap Motor, the only startup to receive aid so far, got 2.76 million yuan. So, yes, the Chinese government has and does subsidize its EV revolution, just not necessarily the way many assumed. Italian energy company Enel, many of which you might remember as the company that acquired charging station manufacturer eMotorworks, has been fined €2.3 million in Italy for abusing its market position. If you haven't watched our videos on the Juice Box, here's the context. The original, excellent network-connected smart charging stations, as designed by eMotorworks, were ultimately neutered and then completely dropped by Enel last year, following several years of poor support after its merger. This left hundreds and thousands of customers with non- or partially functioning units. Italy's antitrust authority has now launched an investigation into Enel and its subsidiaries for different reasons and found it engaged in margin-squeezing practices in the fast charging business, aimed at blocking competitors from the marketplace. Enel has acknowledged the findings but rejected the conclusions, stating it intends to appeal the decision and the fine. I don't really buy the whole karmic justice thing, but I, and I'm sure many other juice box owners, probably have no sympathy left for this particular brand. While Mercedes-Benz's CEO has been vocal against a rapid all-electric future, the brand's engineering team just celebrated a major milestone with its concept AMG GT XX EV. Earlier this week, the concept set 25 new distance records in a single run at the Nardo test track. Unlike many recent range records, it averaged 300 kilometers per hour, about 186 miles per hour, covering 40,075 kilometers, around 24,845 miles in just 7 days, 13 hours, 24 minutes and 7 seconds. That's the longest distance at those speeds for an EV, roughly equivalent to travelling around the world in less than 8 days. The AMG GT XX is Mercedes-Benz's first all-electric AMG concept and features axial flux motors, directly cooled batteries and super-fast charging, technologies planned for production vehicles based on the AMG EA platform. We're off to Oregon next, where Democratic Governor Tina Kotek is proposing a controversial bill that could affect EV appeal and uptake at a time where EVs are already under attack by the US federal government. Critics have long argued that EVs don't pay enough towards road maintenance since they don't use gasoline and therefore avoid gas taxes. But Oregon, as many other states, has traditionally charged EV owners higher biannual registration fees to compensate for this. But now Kotek wants the state to require EV owners to join Origo, a pay-as-you-drive program that tracks vehicle use and then bills participants accordingly. Origo has been around now for 10 years, but it currently has just about 850 participants, showing it's not exactly popular. For low-mileage drivers, the program could be cheaper, but with over 117,000 plug-in vehicles in Oregon, costs may rise significantly. As an example, someone driving 20,000 miles a year will face an annual bill of around $400. $100. While we believe everyone should contribute to road upkeep, this feels disproportionately high for the EV-owning proportion. We know that current US government is no fan of renewable energy, or rather, the current White House and those placed into government roles by the occupant of said White House. But new data from the US Federal Energy Regulatory Commission shows that through May, the amount of new solar and wind generation projects added to the US grid made up 91% of all new generating capacity. More than 1,515 megawatts of new solar panels were added to the grid in May, and that only includes large-scale grid-tied solar, not the residential variety, with the agency forecasting that solar will become the number 2 source of US generating capacity in the next 3 years. However, it's also worth noting that this particular report from FERC is more than a month behind usual schedules. And since the president's actions to dismiss the expansion of renewable energy generation, the agency seems to be undergoing some not great changes internally. Finally, for this segment, following last week's news that the White House wanted to halt new wind and solar projects, the Department of the Interior has forced the US's first multi-state offshore wind farm to halt construction, a wind farm that has been fully permitted for a long time and is currently 80% complete. Enter Revolution Wind, a 704-megawatt farm off the northeastern coast. It's supposed to power 350,000 homes across Rhode Island and Connecticut. Instead, it's frozen over a stop-work order supposedly needed for national security reasons. Developed by Ørsted and BlackRock Global Infrastructure, the regional grid operator ISO New England, which manages electricity across 6 states, warns that this halt in construction threatens grid reliability. Seriously, a fully approved, mostly built project is now stuck because of questionable and patently false claims about national security that nobody has actually substantiated. And yes, some US cabinet members, including Robert F. Kennedy Jr., have been making absurd claims this week about turbines killing whales. So don't expect this one to be resolved anytime soon. The oil industry and President I can't apply concealer want nothing more than to see the world burn while they sit on piles of money that would make Scrooge McDuck blush and Schmaug rage with envy. But hey, if you want to help stabilise your own grid while the government dithers, you should totally check out today's video sponsor, Energy Sage. Energy Sage connects you with local verified solar installers across the US and now heat pump specialists in select markets who really know their stuff and can help guide you through the process of installing solar panels or getting a heat pump installed. Not a homeowner? No worries. Energy Sage can still help you green your electricity by helping you join a community solar program. We used Energy Sage ourselves when looking for installers willing to put solar panels on the roof of our home, and their verified pros were knowledgeable and even introduced us to a great credit union that allowed us to finance the project with low monthly payments. As I'm sure many of you now know, HR 1 is US law, and all incentives for solar, including savings of as much as 30% through the federal tax credit, will disappear very soon. Solar projects take time, and if you want to lock in those savings, you really do need to act right now, because otherwise you'll lose out. Time is running out. Follow the links below to sign up for Energy Sage's free, no-obligation service and get the ball rolling today. And if you choose an Energy Sage installer, we'll also receive a small referral fee, so you'll be helping the channel out too. Help the grid get greener, save money, gain energy independence, and support this channel? It's a win-win-win-win. We are off to recall reminders now, and as a reminder, full details of those recalls are on our website, if they affect you. Mercedes-Benz is recalling certain 2023 through 2026 EQE models to address an issue with a loose steering bolt. Affected vehicles will be fixed under warranty. Mitsubishi is also recalling some Outlander plug-in hybrids made between 2018 and 2022 to address faulty gas springs on the rear tailgate. Again, owners will be notified. And that's it for your recall reminders. Now off to our news shorts. As usual, you'll find links to the covered stories on our website at www.transportevolved.com. The US IRS has updated its guidance on EV tax credits. The tax credit's due to expire at the end of September. Provided you have paid a deposit and signed purchase paperwork on an EV by the end of the month, you will be allowed to claim those tax credits even if you don't pick up the car by the end of September. First Bus in the UK has confirmed its new large static battery storage facility will enter into operation next month in Hampshire. It can store enough energy to charge its local fleet of electric buses. Shell has launched a new EV charging network in Europe dedicated to heavy-duty trucks. It will be made up of existing Shell recharge sites, private charging points, depots and third-party locations. ChargePoint and Eaton Technologies have launched a new vehicle-to-grid capable DC fast charging station that allows sites to connect to their on-site generation and storage with EVs and obviously vice versa. They're capable of charging at speeds of up to 600 kilowatts for cars and 1 megawatt for big rigs. Hyundai has started teasing its latest concept car, a car that previews the upcoming Hyundai IONIQ 2 EV. We'll see the car itself debut at the IAA in Munich in less than 2 weeks' time. Japanese eVTOL company SkyDrive has demonstrated its eVTOL aircraft at Expo 2025 in Osaka. The aircraft makes use of a series of rotors mounted on a lightweight subframe. Ford has officially switched on its new dealer-focused EV charging network called Ford Charge. The new charging network can be found at 320 different US Ford dealerships. The Beaverton School District in Oregon has become one of the first in the US to welcome repowered school buses to its fleet. Converting from diesel to electric is about 1/2 of the cost of a new electric bus. Nissan has confirmed that it plans on launching its own all-electric version of the Renault Twingo in early 2027. We don't know much, but we do know the name, the Nissan Wave. A new battery research project has kicked off in Europe called HiMet-Bat. Its aim is to support the transition away from current lithium-ion cell chemistries to new, resource-efficient ones, such as sodium-ion. UTA Edenred has extended its public charging to e-charge product to more countries across Europe, including Switzerland, the UK and northern Scandinavia. It offers a one-stop, one-payment solution. Hyundai Kia has announced a new battery alliance with various battery manufacturers in Korea, including LG Energy Solutions, Samsung SDI and SK On. They aim to take on Chinese battery firms. Mitsubishi Fuso, Foxconn, Foxtron and MFBM have signed a memorandum of understanding in Japan to deploy a range of new battery electric buses for use in the country. They will start by using existing electric Foxtron models. German company Compleo, which makes a range of DC fast charging stations, looks as if it's about to make some sizable job cuts at least 2 of its facilities. The brand is said to be in poor financial health. AI robotics driving company Nuro has just closed its Series E funding round with a total investment equivalent to $203 million. It plans to advance its AI driving tech and commercial deployment. BYD has officially opened its first ever all-terrain circuit designed exclusively for new energy vehicles, that's plug-in hybrids and EVs. It aims to offer an off-road adventure playground for the cars. Opel has revised its plans to become an all-electric brand by 2028. Part of the Stellantis group, the brand now says it wants to adopt Stellantis' multi-energy strategy instead. A UK consortium made up of Jaguar Land Rover, Liebat Recycling, WMG at the University of Warwick and Mint Innovation have secured £8.1 million to scale a new demonstration battery recycling programme for end-of-life EV cells. It will last for 3 years. As part of its continuing strategy to avoid import tariffs on Chinese-made models to Europe, BYD has begun to ship EVs made in Thailand to the region. It's part of a longer-term strategy to expand its Southeastern Asian factory presence. The UK government's tax arm, the HMRC, has announced a new plan to split the reimbursement rates for EV owners using electric company cars. Reimbursement amounts will vary depending on if you charge in public or at home. Peugeot has revised its E308 family for the new model year, adding a new longer-range battery pack in the UK. The new range-topping model offers up to 281 miles of range on the WLTP test cycle. A new website has launched in Europe called China EV Marketplace. It allows European customers to buy road-legal EVs and plug-in hybrids direct from China and have them delivered to them with customs clearance. Maruti Suzuki has started official series production of the eVTOL at its new production line in Gujarat. Vehicles will be made for both the domestic Indian market and for export to other countries. Porsche has confirmed that its second PPE-based car, the Porsche Cayenne EV, will be launching with a maximum DC fast charging rate of up to 400 kilowatts. It will be previewed at IAA next month. Researchers at the Helmholtz Institute in Berlin have demonstrated a new storage mechanism for sodium-ion batteries that could lead to faster deposition of sodium ions, which translates to a faster quick-charging experience. SAIC brand MG Motor has confirmed that it plans on launching up to 13 new electrified models over the next 2 years, but that includes EVs, extended-range EVs and plug-in hybrids. Toyota has revealed details for its refreshed BZ4X in the US. Renamed to the Toyota BZ for this year, it gets a lower sticker price and offers improved battery pack and spec over the outgoing year. After Chevrolet took its gasoline-powered ZR1 and ZRX to the Nurburgring in Germany to beat the track record set by the Ford Mustang GTD, Ford went back to one-up its rival, setting a new record of 6 minutes and 48.393 seconds in the all-electric Ford Supervan 4.2. Sabine would be proud. Napoleon Reyes, a former Tesla Model Y manufacturing specialist, has been given a new job at Slate Auto, where he will help the automaker ramp up production preparation for its low-cost all-electric truck. Porsche has confirmed this week that it's abandoning its plans to make EV battery packs in-house. After rumours last week, the brand confirmed Cellforce, its battery firm, will focus solely on R&D. Premium electric bicycle firm Riese Müller has announced it will pause all e-bike shipments to the US, stating that steel and import tariffs will make it almost impossible to sell its bikes at a profit. A team of researchers at Brown University who published data linking anti-offshore wind groups to oil company interests have been threatened with complete university defunding. The threats come from various law firms who say the university must erase its research or else. Rivian CEO RJ Scaringe said this week that hands-off point-to-point driving will be coming to equipped Rivian vehicles in late 2026. He made the claims on a recent Inside EVs podcast. Electrovaya, a lithium-ion battery specialist, has announced it's entered into a commercial supply agreement with Janus Electric Holdings in Australia to supply battery packs to convert Class 8 diesel trucks to electric. The contract's value has not been disclosed. Ford has confirmed that its all-electric Puma Gen-E will be the first all-electric car to receive the full UK electric vehicle grant of £3,750. It will be cheaper than its petrol sibling. Lamborghini's CEO went on the record this week to confirm that while the brand could make an electric car, it won't, because he said his customers only want V12s and V8s. He's thus decided to cancel the brand's planned EV production. France has officially confirmed it will reintroduce its subsidy program for EVs. From the end of September, lower-income households will be able to get reduced lease deals to help them go electric. And finally, for the news shorts, after complaining for some time that gear shifts were unnecessary and pointless in EVs, Porsche now seems to be signalling that it might be about to offer pseudo gear shifts after all. In a recent report by The Drive, the brand confirmed it's interested in making fake gear shifting and fake gear shift noises. And those are your news shorts. There will be more next week. Before we get to our final two stories, I want to take a moment to talk directly to you. For 15 years now, Transport Evolved has been bringing you independent news about cleaner, greener, safer, smarter and more equitable transportation. 10 of those years have been here in the US, and through it all we've stayed true to our mission, covering stories that matter, even when bigger outlets pass them by. But the truth is, we can't do it without you. We're not backed by corporations or big production budgets. We are a tiny team, just 3 full-time and 1 part-time member, working hard to bring you content every week. And like so many other creators right now, we're feeling the squeeze. Costs keep rising while YouTube ad revenue keeps falling. Every single Patreon pledge makes an enormous difference to keeping this show alive, and that's why during September and October we're holding a special pledge drive. By joining us on Patreon for as little as $1.50 US a month, you'll not only keep Transport Evolved going, but you'll be part of the community that sustains independent journalism. Over the next few weeks, we'll share stories from supporters who already make this possible, and we'll be offering a small thank you in the form of some exclusive digital art from Erin. And this Tuesday, we're going to kick things off live at 11 a.m. Pacific with Liv and Patrick from the Electric Duo. If you've been watching and thought about supporting us, now is the perfect time to do so. Please consider joining us, and thank you truly for helping to continue this journey. And now it's time for those last two stories. As I've noted for what feels like the entire summer, there's been something of a push towards more record setting this year, with range and track records aplenty. We've covered several in this show, but there's still one left to talk about today. The all-new electric speed record set by BYD's performance arm Yangwang, which managed to send a Yangwang U9 out on the APT automotive testing track in Papenburg, Germany, to set a new world speed record. Previously set by the Aspark SP600 last year, the Yangwang U9 Track Edition, which can put 2,250 kilowatts to its quad-motor drivetrain, managed to hit a top speed of 472.41 kilometers per hour. That's 293.542 miles per hour, or if you prefer, a little bit faster than the Eurocopter X3, a lot faster than the Rimac Nevera, a Formula One car, and yes, even most bullet trains. At this point, I could make plenty of Yangwang jokes, at least according to the Brits in the audience, but I won't. And finally, I've been driving and covering electric vehicles for 19 years now, and in that time, I've heard just about every excuse for not going electric. But this week, a new one popped up online that honestly stopped me in my tracks: the state of the average American garage. According to a Michigan-based research firm called Telemetry, 1/3 of American homes with garages are so full of stuff you couldn't possibly park a car inside. And by extension, the argument goes, many people simply overlook EV ownership because they worry about not having a secure place to plug in at night. Now, I'll admit, I'm not entirely convinced by that logic, though I do respect one of the study's authors who I know. But I'm also maybe a little biased because my own garage is my wife's woodworking shop, and I don't know a single EV owner with off-street parking who actually charges inside their garage. But perhaps the best reaction comes from 2 of our team members who rent and also own plug-in cars. Their take on this story was, most of us don't even own a home, let alone a garage with power, and somehow those who rent and drive a plug-in just manage fine. What do you think? And on that note, we are done for today. Before I go, a massive thank you to the Electric Vehicle Association for sponsoring today's show. The EVA has been advocating for EVs since 1967 and remains firmly committed to a cleaner, greener future for everyone. Join the EVA today to find out how to become an EV educator, meet like-minded fans, and get help to make your own transition to electric. Help that includes a low-interest loan program to finance your next step. Find out more at myeva.org. And thanks to Energy Sage. Follow the link below to plan your own energy-independent future before those tax credits vanish. And thanks to you. If you can, please consider supporting us from just $1.50 a month on Patreon. YouTube, in its ultimate wisdom, is now inserting so many ads into long-form content that it's pushing people off the platform, and it's also diluting the money paid to creators for every ad. And it's also making random audio podcasts of every video we've made and not turning the ads on. And because right now there's really not a good alternative to YouTube, and no, Nebula is unfortunately invite only, which is why we're not on there, Patreon is really our only reliable form of income. And if just 400 of our 152,000-ish subscribers who have yet signed up to Patreon did so and committed to giving the equivalent of a fancy coffee a month, we would be in a so much better financial position. And if you'd like to join in by watching the launch of our pledge drive on Tuesday at 11 a.m. Pacific with Patrick and Liv, please do. We publish every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday on this channel, and every Sunday we drop 2 videos on Transport Evolved Take 2, which is our more informal, behind-the-scenes channel. And in closing, some important messages. You are valid, you are loved, and you belong. This week has been another hard one in many countries around the world for different reasons. From yet another mass shooting of innocent victims in the US to blaming an entire community for the actions of that one individual, to mass genocide at the hands of a country which believes it has a divine right to let others die. And of course, that's before we even cover all the horrid things being said and done in the pursuit of enriching a few at the expense of many. Right now, division and hate aren't just tolerated, they seem to be encouraged by those in power, driven by a lust for cruelty. And in these times, kindness and empathy become acts of radical resistance. I want to remind you that empathy is not a weakness. It is a skill that we must nurture and regularly practice to hold on to our shared humanity. I also want to remind you that it's okay to take time off if you need to unplug, to get outside, bury yourself in a good book, listen to your favourite album, or just spend time with loved ones. It's important to listen to your body and engage in self-care so that when you are ready, you can come back and fight for decency, community and justice for all. Don't let the you-know-whats win. Embrace your awesomeness and let your light shine. Finally, wherever you are, whoever you are, whoever you love, you are not alone. Be an ally, be kind, be the positive change you want to see in the world, and please, for the sake of everyone's future, don't let hate or ignorance win. As always, keep evolving.